This is a brief legislative update provided by the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education on two key pieces of legislation pending before the Connecticut General Assembly. I'm Patrice McCarthy, CABE's Deputy Director and General Counsel, and I'm joined by Sheila McKay, CABE's Senior Staff Associate for Government Relations. We want to provide a brief update on two key pieces of legislation that are moving through the General Assembly that we know are of significant interest to members of boards of education and superintendents. We're going to talk about the high school graduation requirement legislation as well as the relief from professional development mandates. Sheila?
Thank you. The high school graduation requirement bill has moved through the Senate and is on its way to the House. This is Senate Bill 1026. It seeks to change the way in which credits are awarded to students. The move from 20 credits to 25 credits will still happen. It's changed the years in which it would be effective. It will now be effective for the class beginning 2019. And it changes it. It's a 2-year delay. The basic set of requirements are as such. There are 9 requirements in the humanities. There are, which would include civics and the arts. There will be 9 credits in science, technology, engineering, and math. There will be 1 credit in health and safety education, and 1 credit in world language, as well as 1 credit in a mastery-based diploma assessment. There will not be any end-of-course testing requirements. Just as an aside, many of you realize that this legislation began, or this whole idea began back in 2010, and it has seen at least 2 or 3 delays in its implementation. Part and parcel because of Smarter Balance, Common Core state standards, and a nod towards personalized learning. So we're looking to have changes made now on this, having this bill move forward in the House next week, we hope.
So it's a piece of good news in this environment where obviously there is serious concern about the state budget, but legislators are clearly trying to provide some relief and be responsive to several issues that have been raised by board members and superintendents for several years. The second bill that we'd like to update you on is Senate Bill 953. This implements the recommendations of the Task Force on Professional Development, and this task force was put in place by the legislature last spring. We met diligently over the course of 6 months, and the task force members, which included representatives from school boards, superintendents, principals, teachers' unions, as well as paraprofessionals, reached unanimous agreement on a process to significantly reduce the very specific statutory requirements around professional development and to allow the professional development time in districts to be focused on the needs of teachers and the district goals. So we see this as a significant step forward. For many years, educators and school boards have recognized that the precious professional development time is not being utilized to the best advantage to support student learning. And this legislation late yesterday afternoon actually passed the Senate on the consent calendar. So there was complete agreement, and we look forward to it being acted on in the House in the near future. At this point, it's important to communicate with your legislators. Let your senators know that you appreciate their support for these two pieces of legislation, and urge members of the House to take up these bills in a timely manner. It's a great sign that they have passed the Senate at this point in the session. It's important that they not get caught up in those final days of the legislative session in June, where even bills that have great support may end up caught in the last-minute flurry of activity that always accompanies the last few hours of the legislative session. If you have any questions on these bills or any other piece of legislation, please contact myself, Patrice McCarthy, or Sheila McKay at the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education. Thank you.